6:33 morning to you. This is Breakfast on GB News with Stephen and Ellie.
Let's have a look at today's papers for you now. We'll start in the Mirror, where the Prince and Princess of Wales are pictured having a pre-coronation drink at the Dog and Duck in Soho. They're just like us.
Yeah.
The royal couple took the Elizabeth line down to the pub yesterday, where they sipped pints at the bar and chatted to locals about coronation rehearsals.
Did the princess have a pint?
No, now, I was just about to raise this. She was handed a pint. I did not see her drink it, so very, It's not quite in keeping with her image.
I'd be quite impressed if I saw her with a pint, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Mind you, I'm always quite impressed to see the King laughing. There's a great shot on the front of the Daily Telegraph. There he is. He's laughing with the King of the Ashanti Kingdom, which I've got to be honest, I'd never heard of. Lord Lloyd Webber has thrown his comments in. He hopes the coronation anthem, composed for the King, is sung at churches across the country. I haven't heard that either.
Yeah, he's written an anthem, a coronation anthem especially, and the King has listened to it and said he's moved by it and he really likes it. So that's one to look forward to tomorrow. It's going to be played for the first time.
Very good.
Yeah. The Mail shows campers who have bagged the best spots on the Mall ahead of the coronation, and some of them have been here for 8 days. Can you believe that?
What do you do about going to the loo?
Well, these are the questions I was asking when I was here this week. One of them also has a hotel room booked, would you believe?
Oh.
So they can nip back and use the shower.
Well, they must have some money to spend.
Yeah, that's what I said. Other than that, it's a wet wipe job, I think.
Oh, dear. Lovely. Well, there's a thought for you. Let's talk to broadcaster Liz Kershaw and journalist Benjamin Butterworth, who are back in the studio for us this morning. Good to see you. Oh, Benjamin.
Oh, and Liz got tiara on. Well, thank you for making so much effort. The Prince and Princess of the papers.
Yes, well, the Prince and Princess of Wales, Liz, have been to the pub. That's in the Metro this morning. I'm surprised you didn't see them there, because you like a crafty pint, don't you?
No, I did not on a work night, a school night. No, I went round central London yesterday, and outside the pubs was just heaving. You know, people on the pavements and having a good time, packed. I did see Princess Anne flash past in a Bentley 4x4 convertible with all the police motorcycles. Was so exciting because what a great job. You get paid to go at like 70 miles an hour down the Mall in a straight line. And my friend Jeff spotted Prince William, but it was heaving and there was a great atmosphere. Camilla was at a pub in Windsor as well yesterday. It seems quite the thing, the common touch with the people. But William couldn't pull a pint because there's a technique, especially to pull in really heavy, frothy beer, and you've got to get the glass tips and you've got to do it slowly, slowly, slowly. Had a few goes. And then in the end, it was a special coronation brew. And he went for a pint of cider instead. And allegedly so did Kate, but as you said, there's no photos of them actually knocking it back. But it was a great atmosphere in Soho. I don't know where they would have got on the Elizabeth line though. So just, you know, they could have probably gone 2 stops, but it is a fantastic service.
Yeah, and Benjamin, I mean, London has just looked fantastic this week in the lead up to the coronation, hasn't it? What did you make of the Prince and Princess of Wales visit yesterday?
Well, I mean, I loved it. You know, I'll confess I've spent 1 or 2 afternoons and evenings in Soho myself. And so it was pretty great to see them there. But, you know, my office is opposite Kensington Palace. And I have to say, in the last couple of days, it's been absolutely heaving with people. The number of tourists, the number of people going around Kensington Park Gardens and looking around that palace and the places around it, you know, it makes me so excited. And I remember when I moved to London at 18 years old, and the first royal occasion I saw was the wedding of Kate and Wills. And I don't know, maybe it's a bit sad, but I loved it. I left my halls of residence at about 3 a.m. in the morning and walked to Parliament Square with a little Union Jack flag with their faces in the middle and waved that as they got married. So, you know, I really love all this stuff. And I think that sometimes people say to me, because I'm on the left, and they say, why are you a royalist? Why do you enjoy it so much? And I think it's because, unlike anything America could have on these occasions, or most other countries, everybody comes together. There's a unity, whatever their politics, whatever their age, people come out and they wave a flag and they enjoy that thing we have in common. And honestly, it just fills me with joy.
There were so many Americans yesterday.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with a bit of patriotism. Benjamin, let's have a look at the eye, should we?
Yeah.
To something less joyous, but it's looking at massive profits made by Shell.
Yeah, that's right. So Shell, the energy provider, has made about £32 billion in profit. In fact, it's made another £7.7 billion in the last quarter. Now, this is going to horrify a lot of people, considering the percentage of their income that they're spending on energy bills at the moment. But what's also amazing, and this is a report that the Eye newspaper has been doing for a while, is that while they made £7.7 billion more profit, they put in 4,000 prepayment meters. Now, those are the meters that basically, when someone gets cut off, this means that you have to put the money in before you can have any energy. It means that you have to pay extra charges, and that makes it far harder for people to be able to afford their energy. Basically, it's a tax on those with the least money trying to afford the basics. And I think it raises serious questions that, when you've got a company making tens of billions of pounds in profit, why they're continuing to do these on the poorest. And Grant Shapps, the government minister involved in this, has said that it needs to stop because it is leaving people in the freezing cold.
What do you make of this?
Well, I saw a couple of days ago the Brent crude oil price is only about $80 a barrel, and it's been way over 100, but it's down to sort of normal levels now. And I just wonder, and gas prices have gone down as well. I just wonder why we're still paying, around $1.50 a litre for fuel at the pumps when the raw material isn't as expensive as it was, and I can't see any justification for that. And also domestic electricity and gas prices, they're just unbelievable. I had £1,000 gas bill for 3 months for an empty house. It's just that the boiler's on ticking over in the winter in case it freezes. But I just found that, because of course you don't get the Rishi Sunak 66 quid a month on the gas, it's put on your electric, so what a shocker. But at the same time, prices are coming down. But food prices as well. I mean, I just think people are being exploited. In fact, we'll talk about this later, but Rishi Sunak is going to talk to the major supermarkets to say, are these prices really reasonable, or are you exploiting the situation? Because people say, oh, I've just had to pay, such and such price for this. Oh, well, it's the cost of living crisis, isn't it? And people think, I just have to accept it. I went into a shop the other day, and for a bag of logs like this, it was, guess how much? Anybody?
No, tell us.
$34.95. $34.95 to have a bag of dry kiln logs. I mean, he said, I'm sorry, they've gone up 3 times since Christmas, and they were about £12. So I just said, right, no.
I mean, I would just say on the energy prices, Liz asked a very good question of why are they so expensive when the wholesale prices have come down, and absolutely right that there's a massive lag. There's going to be a new price on the 26th of May, and that will be it's expected to be 19% lower than the price cap, which is currently £2,500, and it's going to remain that way for the rest of the year according to the forecast. So people's energy prices are going to come down, but that's still dramatically more than it was 12 months prior. So there is some hope on the horizon for that.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's because they buy all in advance, so they get locked into these prices, but that doesn't help us out at all. Liz, in the Mail, we've got more strikes on the way. Another 6 months, perhaps.
Yeah, the government did a deal with Network Rail, so that was kind of a beacon of hope, and everybody thought, oh, the railways have been sorted out. But now the major rail workers' unions, the people actually on the trains, have said, no, know we're going to keep on demanding, so there could be strikes until Christmas. There's been billions of pounds lost, it's claiming, to the economy, to businesses, because people just can't get where they want to be. I went down to Milton Keynes Station the other day with a prepaid ticket to North Wales and got there 15 minutes before the departure of my train, and then at the last minute they said the train to blah blah has now been cancelled, and they wouldn't let me transfer it to a different rail operator, which I think is ridiculous, because I thought the taxpayer owned them all more or less now, and they're all in the same unions, and yet when it comes to using it, so I had to buy a more expensive ticket to go on Avanti trains, otherwise I would have missed my 2 other connections, which were for fixed trains, so the whole thing would have collapsed. But on the other hand, there's a report in the Times business section today that more and more tickets are being sold by the train line. The online ticket buying platform is reporting record sales, not quite up to pre-lockdowns, but it appears people are trying to use the trains.
But Benjamin, more disruption till Christmas. How are you reacting to that?
I mean, look, I think our railways are quite fundamentally broken. When I often go back to Manchester, where I'm originally from, and I speak to the people on Avanti West Coast, which has been one of the most disrupted lines, both due to strikes and also due to that company not being terribly well run. And the staff on there talk about how they're not properly paid, how their work rights and situation is all over the place, how it's got much worse than it used to be. And so I have a lot of sympathy with the situation they're facing. But then at the other end of it, me as a paying commuter, when it costs £90 to get back to Manchester, to go to and from Manchester, which is not a particularly long way, it's about 2 hours, those are extortionate prices. And I think the whole thing needs to be restructured, because, people say that they don't want to nationalise the railways. Our railways have been nationalised by, well, some of them are literally nationalised, but the rest of them are owned by other countries. France and Germany and Italy own much of our railways, and they're coining in the profits. So I think something needs to be seriously done, because people can't afford to get around. And it's not like this in other countries with similar economies and similar wage levels. And I think whether these strikes should happen or not, there's a far more fundamental problem.
How is it you can go?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Liz. Let's go to something which is going to make us smile a little bit, because that's all thoroughly depressing. So let's talk about, because I don't think your hat or your tiara would count as royal memorabilia, but there is someone in Brazil, Benjamin, in the metro, who's got 2,000 pieces of royal memorabilia.
That's right, and I'm looking for a husband, and it sounds like he's in the metro. His name is Savio Velay, if I pronounced that right. And this man is from Brazil, and he lives here. He's a lawyer in Britain, and he's got 2,000 items. He's got biscuit tins, tea tins, books, mugs, everything you can possibly think of. And he says that he just loves it, and he even got a framed copy of the Metro newspaper after Her Majesty the Queen died, and put that on his wall. And so, but what I love about this story in a way is that this guy isn't British. He didn't grow up in Britain, at least. And yet he has such a love for our royal family and for some of the traditions of this country. And you're outside Buckingham Palace, so I suspect when you've been going about your business, you'll notice this. The whole world, not just Commonwealth countries, has an adoration and a fascination with these moments. And it's something that I always love. I used to have a Brazilian flatmate who had a tattoo of the Queen. People love this, and I think it's something that really helps Britain around the world. And I love seeing people from all these different countries come and care about our coronation and our sort of crazy, wacky but brilliant ways.
And it touches upon what you said earlier, Benjamin, which is that this is the thing that unites us all. I mean, people all around the world want to be involved in our coronation. It's something that they don't have.
Exactly. And you know what? There's been all sorts of pessimistic headlines, easy headlines in the last couple of weeks of, do people care about the coronation? And frankly, I think if you roll the clock back a week, a lot of people weren't thinking about it. But I think we're in full hysteria now. I also think back to remember when they had London 2012 Olympics. weeks, and everyone would say, oh, no one really cares. But as soon as it came round, we really enjoy it. And I think that's what you're seeing with this coronation weekend.
Well, there's been a rush of applications to councils in the last couple of days to hold street parties, so people are starting to get really involved, I think. But the atmosphere, the people on the pavement yesterday up the Mall was fantastic, but I tweeted some pictures and get the usual low-life abusive comments like tourist scum, etc. You know, there's some nasty people out there, but it's really good for the economy. I mean, Simon was talking earlier about the hotels, and a guy I know is American who's over, especially for the coronation. They said they were asking £800 a night, which is a bit extortionate, but if they get it, it's a boom to the economy.
It's a bit cheeky. Well, it is a boom for the economy. It's all right if you can afford to pay the bill, I guess. Look, we're going to leave it there. Liz, Benjamin, thank you both very much indeed. We'll catch you later.